Dr. Joyner, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for sitting down with us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, how were you approached about the position, and did you hesitate when you were approached?
It was in the massive meetings over this, very difficult times for a lot of people. I mean, all of the Penn State family, and not only that, but most importantly, the victims. We were going through, obviously, a very rapid-fire tactical process now, I guess, a couple of weeks ago, and we had sort of finished up our business on that particular weekend. And then President Erickson, just said to me, would you consider, being the acting athletic director? And, I just went with my gut and I said, yes, absolutely. If you need me, I'm here to help. So it sort of happened that way, and about 3 days later, I mean, he and I were, he had a lot of other things to do, obviously, in that time frame, but in the right order, he came back and, in the proper order of things, he took care of what really needed to be taken care of, and then came back to me, I think maybe on Tuesday, and we sort of had, a handshake on things, and then by Wednesday, that week we were off and running.
When you accepted, what did you feel like your responsibilities were for not just the athletic department, but the university as a whole?
Well, first and foremost, my responsibility is to have this athletic department, which is a part of the university. It's an academic unit, in my opinion, and so my responsibility is to have that mantra reflected, and it's never not been. Those that work here have never not considered it. A part of the academic institution. Our graduation rates speak to that, how we treat our athletes, and how our athletes, the type of athletes we recruit. But my goal was to, number one, solidify that thought process, and to that end, I've used the term, I consider myself the dean of the College of Intercollegiate Athletics, and I've said that, and I think that and I've always considered it, that way. So first and foremost, if we pay attention to the right things and continue to live that metaphor, then we will make this place, be what it is supposed to be.
What's been the biggest challenge you faced so far?
Well, the biggest challenge, you come into a new situation, and in a normal world, I would probably be in a little bit different operating mode, okay? But because of this, terrible tragedy, I'm in an operating mode where it's the spiritual part of our departments and our constituents that I'm paying most attention to. The operational side of this, those things have been intact. Not that we won't fine-tune things as time goes on, but I didn't feel that it's time to go messing with the operational aspects. Okay, I'm monitoring, I'm learning, I'm doing, all those things, but it's really about getting to our constituencies, which are 31 student athletic teams, 31 coaching staffs, our development folks, my staff, everybody here. To really get on the same page and let them know that the dean is here, and we're going to get ourselves. We're going to be respectful and reverent, but we're going to get ourselves going, and that's my biggest job right now, is to do that. And the staff is great; they're responding very well, so we're on our way to doing those things.
How has your professional background prepared you for those things that you were just talking about?
Well, it's interesting. Well, I've had. Nobody's an expert. I heard somebody say this once, you only have experience, all right? So I've had a lot of experience in leading teams in very difficult logistical situations in far reaches of the world, China, Norway, probably 5 continents, 13 countries, with very, very acute responsibilities in taking care of athletic teams and integrating into the cultures that are there, and being able to deal with language situations and still deliver, a great service to our athletic contingencies. And with that, my responsibilities have not only been on the medical side, but I've sat on the Games Administrative Board for several Olympic Games, which is the senior staff, a very select few that actually the U.S. Olympic Committee goes into a martial law kind of setting, and the governance shifts to the Games Administrative Board during an Olympic Games period. We don't negotiate contracts and those kind of things, but we do the day-to-day business. And so I've, not just medicine, that crosses over and being a part of that. The other part of my background that's interesting, that's gives me a skill set that crosses over. You don't realize. I mean, I just had a meeting with our facilities management, construction, et cetera. Well, your orthopedic training, you really become a civil engineer and a mechanical engineer of the body. And so a lot of the same principles, in construction and building and all those things really helped me, to kind of understand those concepts, et cetera. So, and I've had a business background. I mean, I've run, my own businesses, and have been, so I've had to understand budgeting and all those type of things as well.
I understand you've met with some of the coaches individually. What was your message to them?
The message is exactly the same message to everyone that I've just talked about to you. Be respectful, be reverent, but we're here to, we're here to support you and give you the structure to allow your student athletes to be successful, not only in the traditional classroom, but in the classroom which I believe is the athletic field. And that is another classroom, and that's another place where we're developing. So I've met with, I don't know, maybe half a dozen of the coaches, and we're working our way through talking to them and delivering that message that, we're here to bring us back.
What were the impressions you had of the coaches that you talked to?
Outstanding. As some of them I'd met, and some of them I haven't. And I think Coach Rose was the first one I talked to, and I've known him for a long, long time. And so, but I've had some that I haven't met, and the response has been very good. They're very much on board, understanding that some very tragic things happened here, but they understand that our core values inside of ourselves and inside of this university are what we believed them to be before. But there are certain things that have happened that we want to make sure and do our best that they don't happen again.
What about the student athletes? What type of message do you have for them?
Same message. It's my message with our development. I was on with one of our development committees, our annual funding, which is very important. Yes, we have to pay attention to money because that's the only thing, that's how our student athletes can, enter their classroom. And so I'm paying, that's the message I'm delivering, which I've delivered publicly, that, we're here to have this College of Intercollegiate Athletics continue to flourish and function and be restored.
In the most recent statistics released by the NCAA, they found that 88% of athletes on the University Park campus are graduating. What does that statistic say to you about the importance of academics at Penn State compared to a national average of 80%?
80%. Well, I would say it makes the point that the coaches have expressed to me, that people from the outside have expressed, that we know that the core value system of that, our athletes are not athletes first and students second. They're students first, who happen to have a very special skill set that allows them to participate in that classroom on the athletic field. So it says to us that we do have good core values, and that we have been paying attention to them, and we're going to continue to pay attention to them.
As a member of the Academic All-America Hall of Fame yourself, how important are those numbers to you personally?
Well, hugely, because I believe that you can't be I believe that success in one part of life is not isolated. And I believe to be the most successful, it's sort of the Greek ideal. They understood this. You have to educate the whole person, and mind, body, spirit. And if you pay attention to all aspects of your life and trying to have be quality, successful, disciplined, that crosses over to the athletic field. So the best way to have the best athletic teams, at least from a winning and loss perspective, is that you pay attention to everything, and you don't give one more weight than the other. And so your classroom, how you conduct yourself outside, your social life, and all of those things enter into making you a better warrior on the athletic field. The Greeks understood this, the samurai understood this, and so that's the way I live my life. And so it's not hard for me to talk about it, and that's my philosophy, and that's what I'm going to bring here. But I think it's just another way of thinking about it. But I don't think the alignment is off within our student athletes.